A poor little black girl from a rental apartment, claiming her daddy's a 4-star general. That's the biggest joke I've heard all year. But what if I told you the joke was on them? What if I told you the ground literally shook when that father walked through the doors? Stay with me till the end, because this is the most satisfying reckoning you will ever witness. Hit that subscribe button right now, so you don't miss a single second of what's coming. The assignment was simple. Write about a hero in your life. In Mrs. Agatha Garcia's AP English classroom at Jefferson High, nothing was ever simple. Portraits of dead poets stared down like judges. Every paper felt like a minefield. Today, Amamira Johnson was about to step on the trigger. The room was dead silent, except for the ticking clock and the scratching of pens. Mrs. Garcia sat behind her mahogany desk, pearl necklace tight like a noose, cold eyes scanning for weakness. She hated weakness. "Preston," she said, voice dripping with sugar, "why don't you share first? I'm sure we'd all love to hear about your father's latest bill in the Senate." Preston Thorne stood up like he owned the air he breathed. He read a shallow, perfect essay about Senator Charles Thorne. Buzzwords: civic duty, infrastructure, zero soul. When he finished, Mrs. Garcia beamed. "Excellent, Preston. A+. A prime example of leadership and heritage." Preston shot a smug look across the aisle. The class knew the game. Rich kids got praise. Scholarship kids got crucified. "Amamira Johnson," Mrs. Garcia said. All warmth vanished. Her voice turned to ice. "You're next." Amamira stood, chair scraping loud in the silence. She smoothed her paper, fingers trembling, not from fear, but from the love she'd poured into every word. She took a breath and began. "My hero is my father, General Dominic Johnson. He wears 4 stars on his shoulders, but he carries the weight of the world in his heart." Whispers exploded. Preston scoffed loud enough for everyone to hear. Mrs. Garcia's eyebrows disappeared into her bangs. Amamira kept reading, voice steady, raw, powerful. "I learned honor is a quiet thing. It's the silence of a house when a father is away, protecting the freedom of people who will never know his name." For one beautiful moment, the room forgot money, forgot skin color. They were lost in the picture of a silent warrior. Then Mrs. Garcia stood, heels clicking like gunshots. "Stop." She stopped inches from Amamira's desk, looked her up and down, scuffed sneakers, frayed hoodie. "Amamira, this is creative writing, not fantasy." "It's not fantasy, ma'am. It's the truth." Mrs. Garcia laughed, dry and cruel. She turned to the class like Amamira was a museum exhibit of failure. "Class, let this be a lesson in realism. Generals are elite. They live in Georgetown mansions. Their children go to private academies in Switzerland. They do not live in Southside rentals. And they do not show up to school looking like this." The insult landed heavy. No slur needed. The message was crystal clear. "You're poor. You're black. You're nobody." "My father is a minimalist," Amamira said, chin high. "He cares about duty, not things." "Enough lies," Mrs. Garcia snapped. "It's pathetic. Coming from a broken home, inventing a father to fill the void. Disgusting." "I'm not lying. He's a 4-star general. He's—" Mrs. Garcia snatched the essay from her hands, ripped it, once, twice, 3 times, never breaking eye contact. Pieces fluttered to the floor like dead leaves. "You will rewrite this," she said, dusting her hands. "And this time write something real. Your mother's struggles. Your neighborhood. Do not steal the lives of your betters." Amamira stood frozen, heart hammering. She refused to cry. She refused to give the witch her tears. The bell rang. Students fled, eyes on the floor. No one wanted to be near the target. Amamira gathered the pieces slowly. A shadow fell over her desk. Preston. For 1 second she hoped. Maybe he'd say something decent. He looked at the shredded paper. Then at her. and a slow, cruel smirk spread across his face. 4 stars? He chuckled. You should have aimed lower, Johnson. Maybe sergeant. At least that's believable, for your demographic. He raised his expensive loafer, ground his heel into the word honor, left a muddy print, and walked away. By lunch, the story had grown fangs. Preston held court at the rich kid's table. It's actually sad, he said loud enough for everyone to hear. My dad's office looked into it. No General Johnson exists. Her mom was a maid fired for stealing. She's just a confused liar who thinks if she lies hard enough, she'll become one of us. Across the cafeteria, Amamira sat alone near the trash cans. Back to the wall, habit her father taught her. Never leave your six exposed. She opened Tupperware of rice and beans. Head bowed over a book on military strategy. She felt every stare. Preston watched her. He hated how calm she stayed. He felt hollow beside her quiet strength. That morning his own father had screamed at him over a scratch on the Porsche. You're soft. You're careless. Seeing Amamira look so unshaken made him want to break something. He stood. The cafeteria went dead quiet. He grabbed a freshman's milk carton. Walked slow, predator smile wide. Her shadow fell over her book. Can I help you? She asked, voice steady. Just checking on the charity case, he said, teeth flashing. Heard about your dad, the general. Heavy rank, for a ghost. My father is real, Preston. More real than your manners. The tables around them gasped. Nobody talked to Preston Thorne like that. His smile twitched. You have a big mouth for someone who doesn't belong here. Liars need to be cleansed. He opened the carton. Poured the milk over her head. Cold. White. Humiliating. It soaked her hair, ran down her face, ruined her book. Amamira froze. Fists clenched under the table so hard her nails drew blood. Discipline. Do not engage. Oops, Preston said, tossing the empty carton on her food. Slipped. He waited for tears, for screaming, for anything. She wiped her eyes with a napkin. Stood up, milk dripping from her chin. Is that all, Preston? Or does your father need to buy you a bigger audience? Dead silence. Preston's face turned purple. He had lost. She walked out, military stride. Never ran. In the bathroom she finally let her voice shake. A general's daughter doesn't cry, she told the mirror. Then she saw the red lipstick scrawled across the glass. Get out. But the worst was yet to come. Locker room after gym. 40 girls changing, lockers slamming. Around Amamira, 3 feet of empty silence. Chloe, shaking, clutched Preston's solid gold Rolex. He'd forced it into her hand. Plant it. Today it buys me a conviction. While Amamira tied her shoes, Chloe slipped the watch into the front pocket of her open backpack. 2 minutes later the door burst open. Mrs. Garcia stormed in like a SWAT commander. Nobody leave. We have a theft. She marched straight to Amamira. Empty your bag. Why me? Because several students saw you near Preston's locker. Give me the bag, or I call the police. Amamira handed it over. She had nothing to hide. Mrs. Garcia went straight to the front pocket. Pulled out the gleaming Rolex. Let it swing like a pendulum of doom. Gasps sucked the air from the room. I didn't put that there, Amamira said. Someone framed me. Mrs. Garcia stepped close, perfume choking. Whispered so only Amamira heard the venom. You people. You see something golden you can't afford. And you just have to take it. You steal our lives because yours are empty. I don't want his watch. My father taught me honor is worth more than gold. You're imaginary, General. Garcia laughed. You steal to feel rich. You lie to feel worthy. You're a fraud, a thief, and a liar. She grabbed Amamira's arm, nails digging in. To the principal. Now. The halls were packed. Preston leaned against the trophy case, arms crossed. Watching the show. Their eyes met. He winked at Mrs. Garcia. She gave the tiniest nod back. Amamira's stomach dropped. This wasn't just bullying. This was a coordinated attack. Principal Hayes's office. The Rolex sat in the center of the desk like a loaded gun. "We should call the police," Hayes said, already filling out suspension forms. "Call them," Amamira answered. "They'll fingerprint the watch. They'll see I never touched it." Hayes paused, logic scared him. He dialed her father's secure line instead. 10 rings. Automated voice, unavailable. Hayes looked relieved. "No employment verification, just a P.O. box. He's on a classified mission. Or he doesn't exist," Mrs. Garcia cut in. "This is textbook, Principal Hayes. Pathological lying, theft, aggression. Root cause, no moral foundation at home. Specifically, the absence of a mother." Amamira went rigid. They didn't know her mother died of cancer 6 years ago. Fighting just to see 5th grade graduation. Garcia leaned in, whispering poison. "She probably wasn't much of a woman herself. If she couldn't keep a husband or raise a daughter, who knows right from wrong?" The dam broke. Amamira shot up, chair crashing backward. "Shut up!" she screamed, tears finally falling. "Don't you dare speak of her! She was a saint! She died! She didn't leave me, she was taken! Violence!" Garcia shrieked, jumping back. "She's unstable." Hayes scribbled fast. "Suspended. Effective immediately. Pending expulsion. Hand over your ID." Amamira dropped the smiling photo ID next to the Rolex. "You can keep the card," she whispered, voice dead. "But you will never destroy who I am. My father is coming. And God help you when he does." She walked out into blinding sun. No school. No phone. No safe place. She didn't see the black Range Rover idling at the corner. Behind the stadium, it cut her off. 2 more cars blocked escape. Preston stepped out, face twisted with entitlement. "Going somewhere, thief? I'm suspended. You won. Getting you kicked out is paperwork. Winning is when you learn your place." He pointed to the dirt. "Kneel." Amamira looked him in the eye. "You're pathetic. You have everything. Yet you destroy a girl with nothing just to feel big. You're not a leader, Preston. You're a bully. And without Daddy's money, you are nothing." The truth hit harder than any fist. "Shut up," he hissed. "Does it hurt?" she pressed. "Knowing you'll never have honor? You'll never be half the man my father." Smack. Open-handed slap, full force. Amamira hit the gravel hard. Lip split. Blood in her mouth. She looked up at him with pity. That look broke him. He kicked her backpack. Spilled everything. A 5x7 photo slid out. Her father in dress blues. Her mother in a sundress. Little Amamira between them, smiling. Preston stomped on it. Ground his heel into their faces. Amamira choked on a sob. She looked up, 2nd floor window. Mrs. Garcia stood there, coffee in hand. "Mrs. Garcia! Help! Please!" Garcia locked eyes with her for 5 endless seconds. Then reached up and closed the blinds. Preston laughed. "Nobody cares. Nobody's coming. You're alone." They drove away, leaving her curled in the dirt. Rain starting to fall. She clutched the ruined photo, ready to give up. Then the ground began to shake. Not thunder. Heavy diesel engines. Military convoy roaring in. Monday morning, flag ceremony. The entire school assembled. Principal Hayes droning about school spirit. Preston tossing a football, untouchable. Mrs. Garcia sipping coffee, satisfied. Then the growl of engines drowned everything. 3 armored Humvees smashed through the gates. 2 black SUVs with blue strobes. Doors flew open. Military police poured out, forming a perimeter. The lead SUV door opened. A soldier held it. General Dominic Johnson stepped out. 6'4" of steel. Dress blues. 4 silver stars blazing on his shoulders. A collective gasp tore through the crowd. He turned, extended a hand. Amamira stepped out, bruised and bandaged stark on her cheek. She took her father's hand. Silence so thick you could choke on it. Mrs. Garcia's mug slipped, shattered on the steps. General Johnson touched the bandage on his daughter's face. "I'm sorry, soldier," he whispered, voice breaking. "I held the line, Dad," she whispered back. Then the father stepped aside. The general took over. He faced the crowd, voice booming without a mic. "My name is General Dominic Johnson, Commander of Joint Special Operations. This is my daughter Amira. Yesterday she was called a liar in this school. She was humiliated. She was assaulted." His eyes locked on Preston. The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Preston stood alone, shaking. General Johnson walked straight to him. "Stop 12 inches away. You like to hit girls, son?" She fell. "I didn't ask for your lies. My medics are documenting the injury for the criminal report. My dad is Senator Thorne. I know exactly who your father is. Tell the senator the ghost has arrived. His money ends where my jurisdiction begins. You hurt my child. You tried to break her because you're too weak to handle her strength. You, your father, and every adult who watched and did nothing. You're all going to pay." He turned his back, the ultimate dismissal. "Captain, lock down this school. Treat it as a crime scene." Principal Hayes tried to protest jurisdiction. Johnson cut him off. "You take federal funds and DoD grants. A hate crime against a military dependent on federally subsidized ground? You're in my lane until the FBI arrives. Sit down and shut up." Then he turned to Mrs. Garcia. "You destroyed my daughter's essay. You tore up a tribute to sacrifice because the writer was black and poor. It was a lie. So if her father was a janitor, her words had no value? That's your standard?" He opened Amamira's recovered Chromebook. Spun it around. "Read it. Out loud." Garcia's hands shook. She read, voice cracking. "My hero is my father. The stars mean burden, not power. He irons his own uniform because discipline is gratitude. Even though my mother is gone, he fills the house with the promise that doing the right thing matters even when it hurts." She finished. Shame burned her face. "You didn't tear up bragging," Johnson said quietly. "You tore up a love letter from a grieving child. Because of the color of her skin." Then he dropped the hammer. "Yesterday behind the bleachers, you watched a boy beat my daughter. And you closed the blinds. I was in my car." Johnson slid a glossy satellite photo across the desk. Timestamp 3:42 p.m. Clear image, Mrs. Garcia at the window, coffee in hand, watching Amamira bleed. "Satellite imagery doesn't lie, Mrs. Garcia. You watched, and you did nothing." Her face went corpse white. "Officers, read her rights." Later in the boardroom, Senator Thorne burst in screaming about military coups. Johnson waited, poured water, took a slow sip. "You work for me," Thorne roared. "I vote on your budget." Johnson looked up, calm as death. "I'm not here on a recruitment drive, Senator. I'm here because your son committed felony assault. And this school conspired to cover it up. It was a playground shove." He struck her face. Drew blood. Thorne offered money. A scholarship. A check. Johnson stood, towering. "That's your answer for everything, checkbooks. I taught my daughter when she's hit, she stands back up. Truth is the only currency that matters. You think this is a negotiation? I'm a soldier. When an enemy attacks my family, I don't negotiate. I destroy the threat." Thorne laughed, until Johnson revealed the janitor Elias. Vietnam vet, who had been saving every trash paper for 2 years. Taped together, graded C- for brilliance, A+ for mediocrity. And the digital recorder from the teacher's lounge. Senator Thorne's own voice. I pay you to remove obstacles. Break her spirit. Make sure she never steals my son's Yale spot. Financial records, $5,000 monthly. Consulting fees. From Thorne's super PAC to Garcia, Hayes, and others. It wasn't just racism. It was a racketeering ring selling Ivy League futures. Then the final blow. The uncut security footage recovered from Hayes' secret hard drive. Crystal clear. Preston's slap. Alma falling. And in the window, Mrs. Garcia smiling. A small, satisfied smile at a black girl's pain. At the public hearing. Thorne still thought he could spin it. Then the doors opened. Preston walked in, bruised jaw from his own father's ring. He took the stand. I put the watch in her bag. Mrs. Garcia helped. My father paid her for 20 years to destroy kids like Amamira. Because she thought he'd leave his wife for her. He never did. She was just the help. Garcia collapsed, sobbing. The raw video played on the giant screen. The slap. The smile. The crowd turned. The sheriff arrested Senator Thorne in front of flashing cameras. Courtroom, final act. Mrs. Garcia broken, orange jumpsuit. 5 years prison. Teaching license revoked. Pension seized. Senator Thorne, federal prison for racketeering. Preston, probation, 500 hours community service. But free for the first time in his life. Arlington Cemetery, golden hour. General Johnson, Amamira, and Elias the janitor stood before Captain Elizabeth Johnson's grave. Amamira placed the new scholarship certificate named after her mother. I did it, Mom. I didn't let them change me. Her father squeezed her shoulder. You wrote honor is quiet. You were wrong, soldier. Honor is a shield. It's what you have left when they tried to take everything else. They walked away, 3 warriors into the sunset. The lies crumbled. The truth stood tall. Honor isn't bought. Dignity isn't inherited. It's the quiet strength to hold your head high when the world wants you on your knees. Amamira Johnson didn't just win. She reminded every single one of us who we can be when we refuse to break. If this story lit a fire in you, smash that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe right now. Because the next fight for what's right is already loading. Until next time, hold the line.